Welcome back to our podcast, Culture Shock Therapy, where we're going to do a whole lot of therapy for all the culture shocks we experienced as third culture kids. We are your hosts. I am Shauna. And this is my sister Tessa. And today we will be getting into our 23rd episode, of which we have yet to discern the title, but the idea is to look back on our first season so far.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and
Intro
us?
This is our second to last episode this season, which is insane that we've already made it through a season. A friend at work actually today said to me, like, I didn't expect you guys to go through with this, like actually finish it. I know it's crazy. We're rounding up our first season and season 2 is going to come, it's not like it's done now. So we thought it'd be cool to look back because I feel like in different ways, we were very adapt to our TCK life and what it did to us. And at the same time, going through this podcast has made me realize so many things about myself, about how we grew up, what's important to me.
Yeah.
So we thought it'd be fun to look back. I mean, we've talked about fun things. We've talked about less fun things. We've spoken about our own lives. I mean, we started brainstorming this in February when, I had just become a mom. You had just become an aunt. Our lives have changed so much. You moved in with Dylan in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean, you gave birth, yeah.
Dang. So yeah, it's going to be fun to just look back. So I think I want to start kind of broad or global. How do you look back at this experience?
Yeah. I mean, what you just explained about your coworker is, I relate because also people in my circle have been like, more like, oh, so like you guys are still going and like proud that we're maintaining this. I mean, with the few irregular pauses here and there in the uploading, but those different reasons. But
and I mean, it's our first season.
Yeah,
I think we haven't had that many mistakes or errors.
Yeah,
seeing as this is the first time we're even podcasting, we had to learn everything about editing and uploading, and
which was a nightmare occasionally. Sometimes I would just sitting behind my computer like I want to pull my hair out, because it's so frustrating. But a very big learning curve. I've become a lot more
tech savvy.
Yeah, with like editing and uploading and going via Spotify and figuring out how that works and getting into like the whole YouTube channel analysis and all of that stuff. So like that's been fun as well.
And we've had some proper interaction comments.
Yeah.
I was looking back today and somebody this past week commented on the accent audits. And
really? What
they're
happened?
like, oh, it's so funny that you mention accents. When I first started listening, I couldn't quite place it, but after listening for a while, I figured you were Dutch.
Really?
Because they said something like, I've known many Dutch TCKs who speak American or went to an American school or something like that. And I saw that and I was like, it just warmed my heart that this person, I mean, maybe we know them. I didn't recognize the username.
Yeah.
But maybe we don't know them and that they,
took the time.
Yeah. And that they noticed,
Mm-hmm.
It's not just listening, but really listening.
But they also said like in previous episodes, I couldn't really determine
it. And when I started listening, so I was like, oh, you've been listening a while. Yeah. Thank you so much.
But there was also like this one comment, which is like the first one, I guess, for us of someone that we like really didn't know.
And that was appropriate for, I mean, we had someone comment that we have nice cheeks.
That was the one I was talking about, actually.
I thought you meant another one.
No, but like that happened a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, notification, someone commented, and I was like, oh, someone we don't know, and it was I like the shape of their cheeks, and I mean, I like the comment as in like, thanks for taking your time to like listen and respond, but I was like, what do you even say to that?
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly what we meant with please interact with us, but thank you for the compliment. We're just going to take it in the best way there is. We are very proud of our cheeks. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of time and effort into making them plump, and
I just have natural fat in my cheeks, so I don't have to get anything.
I'm trying to make this positive, and you're just like, oh, fat.
But yeah, so like that was those things. I enjoy those things, and like when friends would like message like, oh, I just listened, I really liked this, and how did that work, and questions about things. That always kind of like you would send me screenshots of your friend that would like listen, and I'd be like, oh, it's so nice that people are like invested in it.
Yeah.
Um,
And people that you don't necessarily expect.
mm,
Because like that friend that I sent you screenshots of, I like it's her personality. You know, she goes all in on these things, but I appreciate it so much that she chose our podcast to go all in on and listen, because it's so opposite from how she grew up. And I can imagine that if you didn't grow up this way, that sure a few episodes is fun, but eventually, you know,
yeah,
it's just not really your thing. I could imagine that would be the case. But it warms my heart that she's still listening,
yeah,
and she'll let me know when she hasn't like listened to another episode or whatever. So
yeah,
we appreciate all of you guys for listening.
yeah.
But we were talking about how you look back on the podcast.
Yeah, so actually kind of like I mean, it's not like we in the meantime have like thousands of subscribers and all of that. So it's not a whirlwind in like that sense, but more like a whirlwind of like you said this idea came up in February. We just decided one day to sit down and draw it out. Like, okay, are we going to make this happen or not? And then we just decided, okay, we're gonna just film an episode and see how that goes. That episode never aired, by the way, because that was, I mean, like content wise, it was really good, but it was the quality was so bad. We didn't have microphones.
We
Like,
used my AirPods to see
yeah,
if that would work.
yeah, it sounded like you were like listening in on a phone conversation, and but we learned our lessons from that. We discovered that we really do like to talk in this manner, but that we needed to make some changes, like in regards to filming and audio and things like that. Um, and then from there, the ball just went rolling. It just happened. We just ended up filming every week, and then we decided on a posting date, and then you got into the art of everything, with our logo and our background. And um uh I think the biggest thing for me was when we decided to go public with it, like make the
Mm,
announcement. I was like, oh my
yeah.
gosh. I was really nervous, but I was really excited at the same time. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, like everyone and their mom has a podcast. What if this is like mega cringe? And like I knew we weren't going to be like that, but I didn't want to have the image that we were like the so many set of girls talking about random stuff. Um, just about everyday life. But I knew we were niche enough to maybe set us like apart in like the podcast market. Um, but it was still like, oh my gosh, but how will people respond? And will people even listen? And will it resonate with others? But
Is this going to be a one-time thing, or are we going to be able to keep it
yeah,
going?
I kind of already just kind of in the back of my mind thought, okay, this is something we're gonna hold out for like 5, 6 weeks, and then we're gonna be over it. But as time went on, it was just like one after the other. Oh, we can talk about that, or we can talk about that, or we can get into this, or um, uh, taking an episode about a topic and being like, oh, because we try to keep it to like half an hour, like, oh, we can't really dig into it deep enough, so we have like more content for like another episode, and having more and more people that you want to have on the show. And um just this really like being our like weekly thing, and a place where I don't know, I just look back fondly on the whole learning process and how we've kind of found our way, and how we've really made this like our own thing, like culture shock therapy, like that's our thing. um and it's just something that we do. And um yeah, it's now just, I guess, like a part of who we are, I guess. And I love that people are like, "Oh, so how's it going with the podcast?" or things like that, like the interest of people. And sometimes randomly someone being like, "Oh, I heard that you said this or that you experienced this. Like, what was that like? Or could you elaborate more?" Um, being able to just share and look back on things in our life, and on the one hand realizing more and more, because honestly my homesickness has grown more and more as we've been doing this, so that's like one part of it. But at another side, it's um realizing, and just to be honest, sometimes it was pretty messed up, how we moved around, or the life that we lived, and um the consequences of some of those things. And I like that we're able to look it just right in the eye and talk about it, instead of feeling like we need to overcompensate and be like, "Oh no, it was all fantastic. Like there was no problems whatsoever."
I feel like we can be very real,
Yeah.
um, because there's always pros and cons to everything. We can talk about the cons, but they're not detrimental. Like
Hmm.
I don't feel like we're being dramatic about it, or that it's
Yeah.
too big a thing. Like, hey, yeah, it's there. We can talk about it, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and in that also, like, getting into like our shared lived experiences. Like, I mean, it's so funny because looking back on the first episode, when we talked about that, we realized we were different people at some point. That was such like our minds were blown, and now we got to know each other on a lot of different levels and hear from each other what our experiences were like, and really our eyes are open to each other's experiences, like, oh damn, like I didn't know that you thought that or felt that or missed that or experienced it this way, or um, seeing each other more now as individuals,
Mm.
with our own world and lives, and how we went through this whole process. So I think that was, I look back fondly on that as well.
I think it's such a weird idea how technically we experience the same things, but then now looking back and hearing, like, having the space also to hear, because when I was 16, I really didn't have space for you, in the sense of I was so busy with my own life and myself that I didn't, in that sense, care
Yeah.
what was going through your head. Um, and now actually like taking the time to look like, oh, but so we were in the exact same situation, but we had two entirely different worlds of experiences. And that's really weird, like how you said,
Yeah.
realizing that we're two different people. I feel like this was another one of those moments, like, whoa, we really have different like realities in that. And that's just strange to think about, because I always relativate everything like to how I grew up. For example, if I get in a fight with someone, I'm like, oh, would I like it if somebody said this to me or not? And then based on that, I'll say it or not to someone. But then that just gives this reality check of, but you're just like, a dust mite in a universe. um,
Yeah.
there's so much more out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess now, with me having like rambled for a little bit, like how do you look back on like start to now with culture shock?
I get what you were saying about how it's not a whirlwind in the sense that we have thousands of subscribers and that, we blew up or whatever, but it has been a whirlwind. I think the whole past 10 months have been a whirlwind for me, since having Bo, um, and starting the podcast, going back to work, figuring life out the moment it's thrown at you instead of having a plan, because, it's constantly changing. I love how this has been a creative outlet for us, um, to just have fun and to process a lot of things without being like, oh, but I need to process this because, it's bothering me, but just like, hey, this came up, oh, we're talking about it. And then it just kind of like, leads its own life in your head.
Mhm.
Um, I like that we're like very invested in each other's lives now, because, before starting this podcast, it's not like we had a bad relationship, but
It was just more in between.
yeah, I mean, we didn't see each other super much, and I don't think that's necessary to have a good relationship, but like I enjoy seeing you a lot now. Like it's weird if I don't see you for a week, and having you for dinner here every week. And I know that my husband Kun really enjoys it, and I like that Bo grows up with you, being here around often. Um, and it's funny to see like the things that you learn about yourself, how it's actually matched very much my growth as a person and as a professional at work. um, it's all tied together. So, like, becoming a mom brings a whole different side out in you, and a mirror is held up,
Yeah.
and you have to learn so much about yourself and adapt it, because you're just kind of put in this position where you have to. You can't keep, sticking to old patterns. Um, and then at work, this is the first place that I worked where I wasn't, what do you call that? Where another company sent me to be there temporary. Like I wasn't a
You weren't a temp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm actually working there, and now I have to deal with the whole thing of, okay, but I actually need to settle, and this is the first place I actually have had to settle. And we've been talking about that in the podcast, and how that all kind of comes together. And I think every aspect has helped me to grow, because what I experience in work we can talk about in the podcast, because it has so much relativity to how we grew up and what effect that has on us. And then whatever we talk about here, I can process it and use it at work again. So it's been this really cool cycle that came together.
Mm.
Um, and like you said, the fact that we're still doing this, because every project I've ever started, I have stopped halfway. Um, because I've lost interest. Like, I get so excited about something, and I was a
Yeah.
little bit scared that would happen with this. And I remember saying to Kun multiple times, like, but this has potential. And it's not like my other ideas didn't have potential, but it really helps me to do it together with
Mm-hmm.
someone because you have that accountability. And I feel like we're gracious to each other. Every now and then we're not like feeling too up for it, and we'll skip a week. But it's not like, oh, but we're done then. We're still able to get back on track.
Yeah, and it's not a general thing. It's more like it's more the exception than the rule.
Yeah, and I feel like it's okay to have that
Yeah,
because
because we're still people.
that,
Life
and I mean,
happens.
we'd lead lives. We have to work, we have families, whatever. So it's just a lot sometimes without that being like dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, because yeah, we have the filming, which takes a whole evening, and then you have the editing and the preparing, and the reels and getting everything scheduled. So,
And it's so easy, like a week flies by,
oh my
and then I'm
gosh,
like, oh
yeah,
crap, I haven't made a new reel yet, and um, I'm just not really good at booking time to that. I need to get better at that. But now I have our break coming up to make a lot of reels for.
we have enough material.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
Um, and I like that the ideas keep coming. It's not like we have this one idea and we've milked it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I still have a lot of ideas for what we can do. So we're not done yet. And I like that. I mean, even if this is only for 2 seasons and then we do feel like we're done,
Yeah.
this has been such a cool experience to do. And I'm really thankful already that we have season 1. And then I'm really curious, like, oh, how are we going to go into season 2? What is our, like, what are the themes going to be?
Yeah.
Um,
But like to even think like our season one, right? I mean, we literally decided like 2 weeks ago we're gonna start working with seasons just to like break it up a little bit, and to give more creativity room to let ideas like flow and stuff. But I mean, damn, like 24 episodes, like that's quite a bit.
I mean,
Um,
25 if you consider the one we never launched because the
yeah,
quality was so
yeah,
bad.
that is true. But like, that's a good season,
Yeah,
I feel like that also kind of justifies a bit of a break in the middle to like also take the time to like Koen got us a new studio light, which is wonderful, but taking that time to use those kinds of improvements, like how we want to do it with
yeah.
filming and
And seeing the technical difficulties we keep running into, like, hey,
yeah,
how can we
prevent that.
yeah, and take time because now there's the pressure of every week we need to be editing, and then you have a break for a little while that you can really like look into without the pressure of I still have to do stuff.
Yeah.
How can we make sure this runs more smoothly?
Yeah, and if you have the tech difficulties like I had this past week, is then you can be like, okay, well, I can come back to it later
Yeah,
because we're not releasing the episode tomorrow.
exactly. And I also remember really enjoying like leading up to our launch date.
Yeah,
We will be posting reels, and people
that
would
was a good
like
time.
it was because we would drop the people that were making a podcast and kind of explain what it was, and people would get excited and
Yeah,
interested and curious, and you'd be like, but we're not going to let you know yet what's happening.
I
And
remember when we launched our first reel. It
we
was
were
at
at
grandma and grandpa's party, and
yeah,
we were just like, we're gonna drop. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So we're like hyping each other up, and they were like so giddy about it the whole time, and we were
yeah,
like glued to our phones just with the reactions like streaming in, be like, oh my gosh, like getting so excited, and I guess realizing like,
this
oh,
is real now.
like we like this means business now. Like now we have to like upload on July 1st, no matter what happens. And also kind of seeing the first response wave of people, and for me, I don't know what that was like for you, but like the fear of it being like cringy or whatever kind of subsided after those first respond people were like excited about the reel. And I mean, it was pretty funny as well. Like it was just like, kind of like this blooper intro, and I think how you edited that really hooked, you know. um it was like a classic, like just a classic blooper. um yeah, I think that was it, the suspense leading up to releasing.
That was really exciting.
Yeah,
And I'm happy we got to enjoy it so much instead of, what you said, being overtaken by nerves or afraid that it was going to be cringy. Um, because it's quite vulnerable what we're doing. And I noticed that as well. In the beginning at work when people would ask me, I was like sometimes a little bit not afraid, but nervous to talk about it because I'm like you say, everybody has a podcast. I don't want to make the impression I'm like, oh, I'm all that. I have a podcast, such a great life.
I'm such an influencer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just that this is really a hobby for us. And I have to say I haven't had a single negative reaction from someone.
Yeah.
Everybody's been really supportive, and it's a fun conversation as well. Like I do enjoy now at work sometimes. Like we'll be having lunch all together, and then there'll be a colleague I haven't spoken yet, and we'll be talking about the podcast. Like, oh, you have a podcast? I'm like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. And just like kind of drop it there. Um, yeah, it's just I'm looking forward to having that for season 2 as well. That we can make content again, and then hype. Have that hype of, hey, we're gonna release,
Yeah, and they're
because
like new and improved, like,
exactly
yeah.
2.0. But do you remember the last week leading up to launch week,
Mm-hmm.
the stress that we had? Because
Unreal.
we wanted to launch 3 episodes at once, because we had done our research and that was the advice that we got. Like, hey, don't just do 1 episode, do 3 so people can binge, get hooked, and then after that, do one every time.
Chase the dopamine.
And I have to say, I feel like our first 3 episodes were also in how to look content wise they were good. And yeah, sure, like episode 3, our mics didn't work, so it was a terrible and that was our longest episode. It was like 53 minutes. But we appreciate everyone sticking through it and watching, because that was my vulnerable episode. And I remember that Friday, because that Saturday and Sunday we didn't have time to edit, and you were doing the episode edits. Like, we couldn't share that because we weren't living together, and stressing because I had to go home and the edits weren't working,
And
and
it
you
took
had to go to
so
dinner.
much longer than we thought it would.
Yeah.
We thought, oh, we're just gonna edit because like we're not like new to editing. Like we've always edited things in like previously with videos. So we're like, oh, like it takes some time, but it's like we can edit 3 episodes easy.
Yeah.
And then everything went wrong, and things kept like jamming and not uploading, and then the export was like, it took like 4 hours
for 1 episode, and while the export is
Yeah.
happening, you can't edit a new episode. So we're like, you don't want to stop the export because it's already been exporting
Yeah.
for an hour. So yeah, that was
that the stress was unreal.
yeah.
That I was so glad. And then the day before launch, I decided, like, I took my laptop to Dylan with me to just like do some last things, because we managed to get like 85% done, but the
Yeah.
last things not yet. And then I was gonna upload it to YouTube, and then my CapCut app like blocked, because I'm like, you're not pro, and there was no space on my MacBook and stuff. And then I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have like literally like 20 hours of work in this, and like it's just blocked. So then Dylan helped me out, and then we got it all up and running, and the sigh of relief I had at that time. But it like I said, it's a big learning curve.
Exactly. And I think that's just really cool to look at everything that we've learned, and the things that we're going to learn, and the things that we keep learning about ourselves. Because you hit a little bit on that your homesickness has gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a little bit of a downside to doing this podcast, in the sense of that you're dealing more with missing a place you can't be right now.
Yeah, I guess maybe downside, I don't know if I would like frame it that way, but it does give like a feeling of longing and heaviness, and yeah, maybe being somber or melancholic.
The feeling of Hooray.
Yeah, but it's not that it's like 24/7, but I notice I feel that a lot more intensely and frequently since this podcast.
But I mean, it makes sense because we're like,
We're digging it up.
exactly.
Yeah.
Talking about all our favorite things and everything that happened. And I mean, no matter how long ago it is, it's still a really big part of us.
Mm-hmm.
Your childhood shapes you, and that's never going to change, no matter where you live, afterwards. So it makes sense, but it's a bit harder sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a year I'll be 30. We moved to Holland when I was 20.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's more than 2/3 of my life at this point.
I'm honestly just shook that you're turning 30.
Yeah.
I feel like once we hit the, third decade, we're really getting old. In your 20s, 20s just still feels young. 30s, I have active memories of my parents being in their 30s. And when you're a kid, you think your parents are like so grown up or whatever. And now I'm like, I can't imagine Boas thinking that of me, because I don't feel so grown up.
But
oh gosh,
what is one thing, looking back on our process with culture shock, that you would have done differently with what you know now? Can be literally anything.
I think I would have tried to invest and plan more time in like my part of the reels and the interaction. Um, because knowing myself, I just get distracted and I forget things, and weeks fly by.
Yeah.
So often I come home Tuesday after work and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a new episode, and I haven't even had the chance to share it on my Instagram or whatever because I've just been so busy at work. Tuesdays are often busy at work, so that's just like unavoidable. But I think I would try to plan more time, like, okay, but this is just like, and then in bulk. Because it won't work for me if every week I have to edit like one reel. But
Yeah.
if in bulk I'll edit a couple,
I get that. We have the hyper focus.
exactly, and then pre-upload them so that you don't need to think about it
Yeah.
anymore. Except I kept having issues. My Instagram would like I would pre-upload a bunch of things and then it would just not upload.
Oh.
But see, that's another one of those tech difficulties we got to fix. But I think I would do that because you notice the more we post, the more interaction we have, and when we're not posting as much and only sharing on our stories that we have a new episode, the turnout isn't that great.
Mm.
So I think I would take that as like, hey, I need to be more consequent in that,
Consistent.
consistent. Like I get myself space because like I said, becoming a mother, working again. This is our first season, but that's something that is an easy fix. What about you?
Good points. I think for me also regarding like the episode drop day, maybe that's something for season 2 we can look at if we can do that in a more like handy way, because having the episode drop and filming on the same days, you're with the podcast like a lot. So maybe that's something that could maybe bring some improvement in our stress levels sometimes, and feelings of overwhelm with how fast the time is going. Also, editing in bulk, I love to edit in bulk because then, yeah, for 4 weeks I can shut my brain off regarding needing to edit. And yeah, so that's something I would like to continue if I can just get the whole. And I've been able to work around a lot of the technical struggles, but it's, you learn as you go. And then I hope by then it'll all be like second nature and comfortable. So then you don't have to think about it so much. Um, uh, I think that also, I think, episode 2 was my vulnerable episode.
Mm.
And I've had this thought like quite frequently is I looking back, I feel like I should have delayed that into later into the podcast.
Oh, how come?
Well, because it was very vulnerable, and I was like, okay, but this is only like the second episode. People don't know us yet. So then it felt like you got like just straight into like the the big bad and the ugly. And then we went into like, oh, our lives, and like we like to fly around and we like to eat different types of food. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but maybe a more build up instead
Yeah,
of boom
like it
and then
progresses,
yeah,
that you kind of like build like a trust with the listeners and eventually grow into like sharing those types of things.
yeah.
We went ahead and we took a deep dive.
It was. I mean, I feel like this whole thing was a deep dive because starting this podcast was a deep dive in vulnerability,
Yeah.
and then sharing like you know, pretty intense stuff. Because I mean, we've hit on we've touched on other vulnerable things, but I feel like episode 2 and 3 were our most
Yeah.
in depth.
We just got straight into our traumas.
Hey, I'm Tessa. This is my trauma.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. No, I feel that. And now that you're saying this, I'm also thinking about like the way we've structured our episodes. I think around like episode 4 or 5, we started doing the check-ins.
Yeah.
And then
Which
there's
we've
a little
completely
while,
forgotten.
Yeah. But then there's a little while where the check-ins took over most of the episode, and then there was not that much content. And then I would listen to them like, oh, but I feel like, we barely scratched the surface. We could have structured that a little
Yeah.
bit better. And I feel like that's also what's so cool about having the season 1. You can look back at every episode like, hey, what did I like about that? What was good? What can we improve?
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting to like now at the end of our season listen back to like episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
we've learned so much.
Yeah, and probably the way that we talk and the way we structure things.
But actually, though, I think like legit, we don't even notice like while we're going through a season, right?
But then looking back at the starting point,
yeah, and real like thinking now how we're doing our podcast is very natural, but it isn't. It's something that's grown over time, and I think if we listen to episode 1, 2, and 3, when it was like really like at like the starting point, we were just getting started. Like we were
Still finding your
probably,
footing?
yeah, finding your footing, a little bit awkward, not really feeling, I mean, I don't feel like I've ever had problems being on camera. I don't know about you, but maybe not entirely adjusted with having a full-blown conversation while filming and thinking about the mic positioning and about the lighting, and like you're talking to people but they're not like in front of you.
Yeah, so you're not talking to the camera the whole time because we want it to be a conversation, but
Yeah.
you can't talk like this the whole time because you want the
Yeah.
people to see you.
Yeah, so
Even though I'm realizing I've sat like this the whole episode.
that's something that's grown in the past 6 months, you
It
know?
just becomes more natural as
Yeah.
well. Um, and I think, like you said, like even though I think we're both not really that camera shy, it helps that there's not like a live audience here or whatever, because
Yeah.
it's just the two of us and then Kun is chilling in the living room. Um, but just finding your like position in who you are in this podcast, what like how are you gonna sit, how are you gonna
Yeah.
bring yourself,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember there's one episode where I was talking a lot with my hands, but I realized that my hand was in front of my face the whole time. I was like, oh, that's such a shame because it's a good episode, but I'm talking like this the whole time and nobody is watching to look at my hand, you
But
know?
it's simple things that you become aware of. Like that's also like, well, like when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, I noticed that your quality of sound is much better when you're like this instead of like this, you know?
And it helps because you'll send those. We have like a little group chat with the
With
two of
each
us.
other, which yeah,
But then
just the
we
two of
like the
us.
podcast talk is in the group chat and our private chat. I mean, it kind of like goes over and whatever, but then sending that feedback helps, you know. And I feel like we do evaluate a lot. Like every time we see each other, we'll chat about like, hey, how's it going? What can we do better or whatever. But I like that we have the same mindset in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like one of us is pushing for this to become world known and the other is like, oh, but this is just a hobby to me. I feel like for us both, it's a creative outlet. It's fun to do. It's fun time we get to spend together. If it takes off, super cool. If it doesn't, no problem, because that's not the goal right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that we're on the same wavelength because I feel like otherwise there would be too much pressure or there would be tension between us.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that that does resolve because people things like this end up not working out because of like mismatched expectations.
and how cool is it that this worked between us?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've always like had this like vibe with each other, but we've never undertaken a project together.
Explain.
Explain. Sorry, I find it funny how I always do that. Or elaborate. That's like another like you go like you should look back at the videos, you'll see it. But
Okay.
we've always had this like vibe in the sense that we could hate each other,
Mm-hmm.
but the moment mom or dad got mad at one of us, it's like, oh no, but we're together, you know, don't touch us. And whenever we would hang out a lot, the two of us in Singapore, you know, like go on adventures, and that always worked out very well. It wasn't like, oh, I have to hang out with my sister. Like it was genuinely fun and we got along and we did stuff and we would always make like these fake personas.
Yeah.
um and have these whole conversations about who we were in these personas, and honestly nobody gave a flying crap. And it's not like anybody ever asked, who are you,
Main character
and what
energy.
happened on the 6th day of last year, you know, and we would think of all these things like, oh, but this and that. And I remember this one time we like had I think it was one of our, you know, old Nokia cell phones,
Mm-hmm.
and we pretended to call someone like, oh hey, this is our brother.
What?
And we spent like 10-15 minutes calling this person. We were just faking it for like, because, you know, what if people walk by and they're listening and like, oh, we're being so cool calling our brother.
I don't remember, and I'm really
We were
glad I
walking
don't
over
remember.
the flyover from Ayaracha Food Court to Faber. We were walking over that bridge when this happened.
Why would we do that there?
I don't. We were going home from the mall, like, you know, like took the
Yeah.
bus, and that's also the same place you pushed me almost over the bridge to avoid the spider. Do you remember that? Okay, that
I almost
huge.
pushed you off the bridge.
Yes,
Oh
that.
my gosh.
But it was like, I mean, to save me because I would have like screamed. But that huge spider that was like bigger than my face. Do you remember? It was hanging in the bridge. How do you not remember this? This is like traumatizing.
I think it made more impact on you than it did on me.
I have photos of this. I will upload a photo in this episode because that is like a must. Dad will always laugh at us that it wasn't a big spider, but I have a photo that it's like this big. Like, I don't want to move the mic from my face, but like that. And I was about to walk face first into it because I didn't see it. Because I mean, why would such a big spider be chilling there? And you pushed me, and I got really mad at you, like, "Hey, are you trying to kill me?" And they're like, "Turn around." And then I saw that spider, and we freaked out, and then we went to Phuket. Um,
We saw a spider, freaked out, went to Thailand.
well, it was we were on our way home from school early because we were going to Thailand.
Oh, probably. But I mean, you had those moments with me quite often, that I
Where I got
saved
mad
your
at you?
life and you got mad at me.
Oh, one other time.
You had a tendency to cross the road without looking. And you know why I know it was a tendency is because it's legitimately a reflex with me when crossing the street with someone to stick out my arm to block the other person from not crossing the street. Because you would just like wander off the road, a car would come flying by, like, get back here, and then you'd be like, why did you do that? I'm like, I'm sorry, did you want to be dead?
Maybe no.
Yeah.
But that's what I meant with we have a vibe. Like we have this whole world that we live in when we're together, you know. But these projects don't always work out, even though you can get along with someone well. So I like that this worked out between us, and that we're both still having fun, and you know, it just all turned out very positively, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes, me too.
Okay, ew, enough.
Feelings.
um,
But I guess, I mean, we've been chatting for a little bit. We can go ahead and finish it up.
round up.
So, what are we actually going to be getting into with our? Did we talk about that already with our final episode for this season?
We have not spoken about that, but it's going to be a special episode because it's our finale, episode 24, coming next week.
We should do it with a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But we got to think of a cliffhanger then.
I know, we still need to discuss what we're going to talk about, and yeah.
That's another thing I like, that we always, like, right before we press film, we're like, oh, what should we talk about? And then we choose something. And I got home today and Kun was like, what you're going to talk about? And I said, I don't know. He's like, oh, then it's going to be a good episode. And I was like, oh, nice, thanks.
That's so sweet. But I feel like that genuinely is the case, because it's
Yeah.
something then that comes more naturally instead of, oh, we need to talk about this specific thing.
Yeah, exactly. We got to follow the dopamine. So we want to once again thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, everything, the whole Ram Bam fam. We're thankful that you guys have gone on this journey with us, the past 23 episodes, the past 23 weeks. We're looking forward to sharing our finale with you. And again, would love to hear your thoughts and your experiences. So
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.